So recently, I've come across the insight that I needed to put action to my insights. So what I mean by that is I had good insights, downloads of very valuable information, but if I didn't sort of put an action to it or decided to do something with it, it was the direct knowing or the direct life experience was lost on me, and then I would feel guilty and depressed because I hadn't acted on the potential of, the medicine inside that insight. So this morning, as I was walking back from bringing my daughter to daycare, I had an insight. And I decided that what would be a good action to do following this insight was to channel and see if I can extrapolate more significance from it, and then maybe putting some daily actions, or some daily actions to see if I can integrate and incorporate that insight in my life. So the insight that I got this morning from during my walk is, when you bullshit yourself, you're shitting all over yourself. So in other words, when you get triggered and you either become defensive, you sort of, the trigger is sort of a gem, and it's got, liquid medicine in it, to give it a metaphor. And when you're bullshitting yourself, either by, pushing it away or becoming defensive, or you start criticizing either the person or the situation that's gotten you to that trigger, rather than trying to understand why you got triggered from it, you're you're putting shit on your diamond. And so then you have to clean up your shit, which stinks and is sticky and it's disgusting, maybe a little liquidy, wash, before you can get to that gem, and before you can get to the liquid inside that gem. So, an action that you can do when you get triggered, obviously, is to stop and try to decipher why you got triggered in the first place. Usually, when we complain about a situation, or when we resent someone else, it's because somewhere along the line we self sacrifice too much. And so we get defensive and we get triggered because we sort of put ourselves out there. So by sacrificing, you're not protecting yourself and you're not protecting your desires. And your desires are super important, your natural desires, not your surface desires. So your natural desires are super important to protect, because that's what increases your quality of life. So when you self-sacrifice and you're not protecting your core desires by thinking you'll reap a reward or whatever it is, and you're doing stuff that doesn't come naturally, or you're not getting like an inspiration to do things, and you're doing something like against your will, against a certain level of your will, then you'll become defensive when that's triggered, because because that's the core of who you are. So you're sort of self-sacrificing for whatever reason, your the quality of your life. So it for sure it's going to come trigger you when you think that someone is doing something to upset that. So when you get triggered, realize, or when you're complaining about a situation outside of you, or you're complaining about somebody, or you resent somebody, or you're angry, or you're frustrated, or you're overwhelmed, or you're depressed, realize that at some point along the line you've betrayed yourself, and try to decipher, who, what, when, and where all of this happened, so that you can change it. And another thing from this insight is, people get defensive and they say, well, it's not my fault, but everything that happens for you. And you want things to happen for you. You don't want to blame anyone else, because when you blame someone else, you're expecting someone else to change. And maybe they will, and maybe they won't, and you have no control over that. But when things are happening for you, you have the control to change them, right? You have the ingredients to change the recipe. And that's what's empowering. I think that was really good. That's all I got for now. Have a great day.